Well, hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm gonna have quite an interesting video. Now thanks to Darko and thanks to Amazon, I am able to show you a rank 4 Psychoman gameplay, which is something that I did not ever think I will have the opportunity to say. At the same time, there isn't too much of the gameplay, so it is a bit limited, but I still wanted to show it because there is some mad lad out there who actually did take up Psychoman to rank 4. As we do know, or I bet many people don't even really know, Psychoman did get a buff. Now, it was one of the worst buffs Kebab has ever done. In a sense, it was fairly inconsequential. They basically increased the duration of his fury by like 2 seconds and some other stuff, but basically it changed nothing, more or less. And the problem with Psychoman always kind of has been that he had a lot of promise. He really did. When you read his spotlight, it looks like actually could potentially be a beast. But the way his kit came together is quite unfortunate because his baseline damage is very bad. When you do get your build up of your 2 level 2s and you get your furies up, as we can see here, it's not bad. It's decent. It's not crazy, but it's definitely not awful. Problem is that normally when you run him, that means you lose vast majority of your utility and he loses majority of his abilities in order for you to maintain these 2 furies. So I think Psychoman has always been one of those concept characters that was idea of it was very good. The execution is where it kind of fell short, because Psychoman does have so many cool and unique things about him, especially at the time when he got released. He has a really long special lock, powerful power control, significant power gain mechanics, access to shock, access to furies, and most importantly, he has inbuilt incredible AI manipulation, where you can basically force opponents to throw heavy attacks super easily, you can bait out special attacks super easily, or you can force them to go defensive. And if any of that would have been built on a baseline moderate or a decently good champion that's not overly complicated, that champion would be really powerful. Unfortunately, it just gives to Psychoman. Now, also, with this video, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad for having ranked Psychoman at all. On the opposite, I do think it's quite awesome to see unique and different and interesting rank ups and champions ranked that perhaps I wouldn't, or most people wouldn't, because that makes the game more interesting. Also, specifically when it goes to stuff like battlegrounds, stuff like that, whenever I see like a random niche rank 4 champion, I'm kind of terrified of it, because I think that they know something that I don't, and that almost always is the case. Because if you take a champion to rank 4, you will have spent some time and invested figuring out the matchups and stuff like that. And I do think that we as community often discard a lot of champions that could be perfectly viable in search for the best, the easiest, the smoothest, the quickest champion to do the job. In reality, you can do a lot of fights in the contest with Iron Patriot if you really want to. There's just no reason to. But if you really like a specific champion, I don't know, Beast or a Nightcrawler, you can surely beat quite a bit of content with it. Right, so let's check out another fight, and then we're going to show another interesting synergy. Or not synergy, yeah, synergy with Psychoman. That I actually saw for the very first time utilized in this video. I'm not entirely sure how this fight exactly is going to look like, but obviously, as we know with Psychoman, you start in one of your 3 modes, and in the first mode, you want to punish opponents' heavy attacks, and then you gain extra power. Then in second mode, that you can shift it into by finishing combo with a light attack, kind of like Black Widow Clairvoyant, you want to punish opponents' special attacks, and then in the last one, you want to hit their block. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I think this is... I'm not entirely sure which piece of content this is actually. Because, what are we seeing there? Okay, we have that X gene activated. Sweet. Oh, we're gonna have a big level 2, aren't we? Nope. It wasn't a level 2. Which node is this? Is this the heavy attack damage? Yes, of course. He's dropping 50k heavy attacks here. This is the 800% heavy attack damage node. And this is one of those things that Psychoman is in fact quite good for, because whilst you are in this initial phase, it's super easy for you to bait out opponents' heavy attacks and then obviously go in and punish them and benefit from all of that stuff as well. So let's see how he does here. Punishes that. Sweet. And now he just needs to drop one heavy attack, but he gets caught. And yeah, man, Psychoman, out of all the characters that have been released in last couple of years, out of all of the champions that didn't necessarily succeed to be the champions that they were maybe envisioned to be, I kind of feel most regret for Psychoman, because I think he could have been so good. And when I heard that he's getting buffed, I was actually really happy, because I thought that there are definite makings of an amazing champion. But we ended up getting what we're getting. And again, by no means I don't think Psychoman is a usable champion. As we can see here, definitely he's getting used. And in this video in particular, we can see that Psychoman actually synergizes extremely well with Heimdall synergy that lets him dash back and gain a Fury buff, because that will, in the fight, let him throw an extra shock, because his level 1 throws shocks based on the amount of Fury buffs you have. Normally your Furies are capped at 2, but here we're going to see that he's going to get to 3 Furies, which is going to give him, well, obviously not only more damage, as he's going to be fighting as the Meter Soldier, but it is also going to give him an extra shock on all of his level 1s, which adds up for a fairly sizable increase in damage, and that's a 6k shock, so it's nothing to kind of sneeze at there. Now that I have seen this, I actually kind of want to try out Psychoman for something like Icarus or something similar to it, where you can get a whole bunch of Fury buffs thanks to some node. It could be very interesting, at the very least amusing, with this interaction, where when you have extra Fury buffs coming from anywhere, synergies or nodes or opponent's abilities or whatever, then you go and get all of these extra shocks and extra shock damage. And here we can see again that shock is now ticking for like 6k per tick, so 12,000 damage there, so not entirely shabby. But again, the problem with Psychoman is, yeah, that you do have to sacrifice significant portions of your utility in order to access even like decent good levels of damage. And then he obviously also has the problem that Jubilee has, where there are just so many abilities, and for somebody to get on top of all of them, it would be a very tough job. Now, this fight's also quite interesting, because I believe this is all or nothing Venom Pool, if I'm not mistaken. And as long as Psychoman stays in his yellow mode, which is the one that forces opponents more likely to throw special attack, it's actually one of the coolest kind of taunt abilities, because it's not a debuff on the opponent, it's nothing, it just exists there, so there is no way to really get around this ability as well. Like, opponents can shrug off the taunts and or infuriates, and even when we have champions like She-Hulk or somebody else, like, you know, if you can't build up your passives, you're kind of in trouble, and then if you lose momentum, then the entire fight can go sideways. With Psychoman, just staying in your yellow mode, what is it, fear? I forgot. Just staying in your special attack, basically baiting phase, you are always going to force opponents' special attacks out. And again, there's no need to land a debuff or maintain passives on you. It just is, it just exists there. So I do think that is quite a unique bit of utility there. because nobody and nothing really kind of stops it or negates it. Obviously, again, here is a perfect example of the other problem, though, where you are forced to really keep this utility on if you don't want opponent to eat a level 3, opponent to get to level 3 and throw it to your face, but then your damage is just not amazing. What I'm trying to say is I'm happy that somebody's giving chance to Psychoman, and I think it's very cool. And I do think that if you have plenty of patience, if you don't mind the subpar damage output when you need to access his utility, you can actually do a lot of hard fights with Psychoman, except that you're going to be doing them for quite a while. From the other side, every time I see Psychoman being used, there's just a little bit of what could have been. If only. Like in this fight, he got nearly 100 hits and that Venom Pool is still at 70% health. And yeah, it works perfect. But it has to work perfect for a very long time. Either way, huge thank you to Darkro for sending in the footage. He actually sent these clips to me a while back and I accidentally missed them. So I should have uploaded this video a while back, but I am here today nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think about the rank 4 Psychoman, and I will catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next month.